Hello, lovely people. Hopefully, I am streaming here properly. It is a beautiful day here in Mount Shasta. I am working on prepping for the upcoming full moon celebration, which will be on Saturday evening. Friday is actually 8/8 Lionsgate, and there's going to be a lot of people that have come into town for this, are going to be up on Mount Shasta at Old Skibool and celebrating and trying to bring in all of the 8/8 manifestation energy. I am actually in the process of planning for next year, 2026, a exclusive gathering, a Nazarene Lion gathering around Lions Gate. It'll be probably, hopefully, here at the sanctuary that I am working at, and that's a different story, which we might talk about after. But I'm really excited about what's in store. I have a lot of plans, and I'm excited to actually have a multiple day retreat slash event that people will be able to come and fellowship and explore Mount Shasta and do different outings and all of the things, prayer and song and just fellowship in general. I'm really excited. So 404 Reality Not Found says, "Hi, Queen and Honest Snow. Would you like to join us on one of the Against the New World Order's podcast episodes?" Ooh, that sounds really interesting. I have been recently wanting to get more into interviews and podcasts and collaborating and also sharing, having people come onto my channel and share their knowledge with you as well. So let's talk about that. My email is queenandhonestsnow@gmail.com if you want to give me some of the details and we can discuss it. That sounds really cool. Sweet. Would love to have on board. Sweet. Sounds cool. There's a lot of different projects that are that I already kind of have going, but like I just want to do so many different things, and working on managing my own time is something that I need to make more important in my life, because there's just more things that are starting to come around to needing to be taken care of. And ultimately, I want to make sure that, like, if possible, all of the things that I'm doing, the work that I'm doing is aligning with my holy work. So I'm trying to pray for opportunities to align me more with that and provide opportunities that essentially that God and Goddess can give me resources so that I can change the world with them. Anybody that knows me knows that, like, all of my money goes into the events, and I try to make everything free and go above and beyond what anybody is expecting, because I want to impress people, not just because, like, I want to impress them. Like, I want them to be like, wow, this is really cool, and to have a really good time. I actually worked in catering before and did events planning and stuff like that, which was really fun. But I also want them to see that veganism can be really awesome as well. I mentioned before the Easter party that we had here. I had 2 different chocolate fountains. One actually had vegan chocolate in it, and one had the cheese that I was showing you earlier in it. So people, like, are not even expecting vegans to eat cheese, let alone have fountains of cheese at their parties. And just, I want to bring, like, a lot of the stuff that I used to love and these cool things into not only this and what I'm doing right now, but the golden age in general. This world is a blank slate. What we want, we can manifest if we unify and work together for that vision. So hopefully you are aligning with the way of the world, because we are going to make it happen. We're going to return to the fleshless diet. We're going to return to Eden. We're going to have free. We're going to enjoy the resources that Mother Earth gives us freely in the ways that she intended for us, in a respectful and loving manner where we're coexisting with nature, not just the trees and the plants, but also the animals, right? We're all brothers and sisters and meant to be living in peace and harmony with each other and getting along. And it's been far too long that we have been at odds with the animal kingdom, with other species in general. And the world that we're in is the result of that. All of this darkness and pain and suffering is because of all of the animosity and the war between species. And we as humans, as the center stage, made in God's image. Well, they're made in God's image too, but I'm kind of trying to talk to the people that are maybe more biblically minded. Made in God's image, we were given dominion, which the word is questionable in itself. But if you want to go with that word, which I don't actually agree with, do you use your dominion to enslave animals, to terrorize them, to have them living on death row? Like animals right now, they're not in these mom and pop type things that we all grew up thinking about, right? They're in CAFOs. 90 some percent, maybe 99% of all of the animals that are consumed are coming from these very large operations where animals are literally artificially inseminated to become pregnant. They're raped pregnant, right? If I were to walk into a doctor's office and get artificially inseminated, that is my choice. I'm choosing to go there and make that choice to become a mother. Animals are not doing that. Even if an animal is in heat, she's not saying that she wants a human to come along and impregnate her. That is not, those things do not equate. The animal is like a little baby that doesn't understand the situation, and they have all of these hormones once a month that God made them to have to reproduce naturally, and it's just being completely abused and objectified and misused, and we just need to stop all of it. So I didn't mean to get on the tangent about the animals, but it is really important that we start to live according to the Edenic way. And I know that there are rumors about veganism is the new world order diet. And frankly, well, it's kind of a complicated situation, because as far as new world order, I completely agree that the order that the powers that be is horrible. But can we all agree that we do need a new order in general around here? Because this order sucks. Everybody is suffering. Everybody is living in disharmony, and not with just each other, but within themselves. This whole system needs to be reordered and returned back to Eden. So as far as a new world order, we need a new world order, but not the one that they want for us. That being said, veganism is not the path that the powers that be want for us. They want you to eat bugs and be happy, right? They want us to eat disgusting and degrading things. That's why they have gotten us in the first place to eat rotting flesh and rotting cows' tit secretions that, what the FDA allows in dairy products that you're consuming off of the shelves. All of just so much disgusting things. They want us to be degraded. And when we enslave animals, when we play this circle of life game of predator and prey, we're playing their game. And then we're saying, hey, we consent to this. And they are the ultimate predators, right? They're way smarter. They have everything under control, right? So you're consenting to play their games when you say circle of life. Otherwise, you're saying, no, I don't consent to that. I'm going to go God and Goddess's way. I'm going to go the way of the Creator, which is living in peace and harmony with all that is around me, and trying to bring that peace in all the situations that I interact with, trying to be an example to the animal brothers and sisters that humans aren't all bad. They've been very mistreated. If you just put yourself in the mind of the animals in general, the herd mentality of cows, right? They're going to see humans in general as monsters, as evil. They can't trust us, right? That's why when you go up to try to pet them, they're going to run away unless you are the farmer who is treating them nicely temporarily while you fatten them up so that you can slice their throat and put them on your dinner table. Talk about a betrayal of trust and just emotional disconnect. It's like it's psychopathy. It's sociopath behavior. It's absolutely crazy. So, anyways, if you're like me, you want to be one of the humans that mends that bridge. And especially in the past year or so, I've gotten to interact with wild deer and hug so many cows and just a lot of amazing experiences with animals that I've gotten to show my love to. And I can see how restrictive it was before then. Like, I didn't have this love for cows. And so when the Megillah says that universal love on a human level can't be experienced or attained or any of that, it's because you're closing yourself off to love from those animals, and you're acting out of love. You're acting in a hateful or disloving, unloving, that's the right word that I'm trying to say, way towards them, towards the animals. So Dave Kaiser says, I heard a prophecy of 12 fountains of vegan cheese that run eternally in Shasta during the golden age. That is really funny. That is so funny. Dave was actually here when I was planning the Easter party and helped me with it, and kind of had to reel me in from 12 cheeses. I was like, oh, there's 12 pillars. Maybe it's like, I was just kidding, but also how cool would that be to walk into like a big room with like 12 cheese fountains? Definitely over the top. You see, I have really big dreams, and that would definitely be unnecessary, but I would really like to make this world something that people are excited about, people love to exist in. There's adventure, there's opportunity, there's the resources and the things that you need to live your dreams, right? People that want to build, people that want to build your own house or buildings or whatever, people that want to make art, people that want to perform in music, all of these different things. We should have all of these outlets for people to be able to do, and at the same time have the resources that Mother Earth provides freely for us available, so that we're not in this survival state. You don't have to be busking on the streets for $5. You don't have to be trying to climb the corporate ladder to make ends meet, to working 3 jobs to put money on, or to put food on the table for your children and barely making ends meet. All of this survival that we have going on doesn't have to be that way. Together we can change it. So it's really exciting that we're living in this time where we're taking our power back, and people are awakening and saying, no, we're not okay with the forced jabs, right? A lot of people woke up during that. Not okay with the forced masks. Different things that have kind of traumatized humanity, but also helped humanity to kind of awaken up and take back a little bit more of their power, to stop trusting the politicians, the doctors, whoever these people are in power that are clearly either being paid or they're inverted. They're just part of the system that is set in place by the order of the parasites to parasite off of us, to give this illusion of reality and existence and in life, right? You're born, you have to go to school, you have to do these certain jobs. This is life. And if you don't like it, well, blame God because he put you here. If you don't believe in God, then, you might as well just live it up and do all I don't even want to say that because I'm not actually saying these things, and I wouldn't want someone to take me out of context to say that I would be saying that. But if you don't believe that there's a God and that you're kind of forced to be in this system, that leads to all sorts of different behaviors, especially on the downward spiral of depression and anxiety. And it can be depressing enough when you know that God and Goddess are real, that you're walking on the path, because that has its own, depressions, that you're in this world and all the sadness and stuff. When you don't have any hope of God and Goddess and heaven or your soul's immortality, you can be led astray in a lot of different ways. So Yeah, it's hard to try to combat these different programs in this world as well, because the smartest people are atheists who believe in the globe theory and evolution and all of these different things. And we're supposed to just hand over our brains to these white coats, these scientists, these preachers of science fiction, really, pseudoscience, and just, oh, well, those are really big numbers. Those are ideas that I could never even think about. Meanwhile, they keep you on this rat race so that you can't ever think about it. And then when you do start thinking about it, you're like, wait, that doesn't even make sense, right? The globe Earth, if you go out and actually, like, humbly, you can't just be like, oh, I already know it's a globe, so I'm just gonna go. And like, you have to be willing to assess the world around you like a real scientist, which means that, okay, your hypothesis is that the earth is a giant spinning ball. Okay, go outside and actually prove it, right? Once you actually try to go outside and prove it, things start to fall apart really fast. Just looking up at the sun and the crepuscular rays and how close the sun actually is to the earth. If you go up in an airplane, you can literally see how flat it is for miles and miles and miles. There's no curvature at all. You can be deceived by your own senses and the distortion of windows, but there literally is no curvature at all. Unfortunately, people will say, oh, go up in an airplane. I've seen it. Did you actually see it? Or did you, you weren't looking for it. When you're not thinking of it, you can get deceived with anything. If it's not something that would even cross your mind, right? You didn't see the curvature. You maybe saw some distortion from the sides of the window, but most likely you just saw the horizon, and that's what you assume in your mind is the curvature in various ways, right? Hey, the Israelite, how's it going? The Israelite says that when the planets and stars are all above Earth, Earth is not a planet. Yeah, the word planet meaning wanderer, the ancients used that term for Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They only named the ones that you could see with your naked eye. Uranus is clearly a sodomite joke, but it wasn't discovered until telescopes were discovered. And then Neptune was discovered based on mathematical gravitational equations that are tied to Uranus. And then Pluto isn't even, poor guy, poor puppy. Oh, it's a lost puppy in space. I wonder if Tesla's car will find Pluto and give him a ride home. Oh, he's got to be so sad. I'm totally kidding. Anyways, this space deception is something that I woke up to in 2015. Mark Sargent woke me up, technically. The Under the Dome full documentary video was, honestly, even just seeing the thumbnail of that video was just like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. I know that God is extremely intelligent, and the globe Earth, compared to an enclosed realm with the sun and moon, like this whole system, one is intelligence and one is really dumb. Like, once you actually start thinking of people upside down, like people on this part of the ball that are upside down to people at this ball, and like, it's just going through infinite space, wobbling, crazy, just chaos. Hopefully nobody wrecks into each other. That's just not intelligent design. The creator that created this body, like, I've always loved the human body. The human body is so amazing. There's no way you could ever convince me that this most amazing machine on Earth could come through evolution. And I knew that before I even knew how evolution is not even physically possible. So there's no way that any of this came into existence by chance, and no way that this intelligent designer that created all of these systems and functioning organs and all of this would pick the stupid design. It all makes sense in intelligent design. So the more that you look into creation and actually go and try to prove the globe, the more that you're going to find that flat earthers aren't that crazy after all. We're just all programmed from birth, and especially probably for guys, I would assume. Sorry, I'm not going to speak for all ladies, but I didn't have any dreams of space whatsoever. I didn't have any longing to go up there. I actually remember thinking from a young age, like, well, I'm never going to go up there. So I kind of have to just believe what somebody else said. And so there was parts of me that I already knew, kind of, I was like just accepting it to pass the test, right? To get out of school, because I didn't want to be in school. School's literally designed to make you a useful idiot slave. And they take that desire for learning and that love for learning that kids have naturally, and they try to put us all in these cookie cutter systems and sit in a classroom all day, and it just takes that away. Thankfully, I still do love learning, but I can definitely understand why a lot of people just like don't even want to go to college, and just they're done with the whole system after they get out. I lost my train of thought, but sprinkler sounds really nice over there. The Israelite says, I'm going to go back to flat earth, I guess, actually. Using our finger as the sun and the moon, thumb as the moon on the waxing event. Interesting. Are you talking about a mudra that you are using on your hands like that? Or I'm not really sure, so I will wait on that. But anyways, flat earth, like I was saying, is something that I woke up to in 2015. So, and it was something that I accepted very easily. I didn't have any cognitive dissonance. And at the time, actually, I was like, okay, the earth is flat. Tell me what Christ's original teachings were. So as I've said before, my focus is always like been on the spiritual stuff, and finding the Megillah is something that has really been impactful for my life. And that is one of the reasons that I'm obsessing over it with you, because I'm obsessing over it with myself. This is what I like to make memes. There's so much in here that I haven't even read yet. There are tea recipes. There's just so much in here that I haven't even touched the surface, and I have been through a lot of it. So finding this is really great. And I just wanted to mention about the cosmology of the Megillah, because technically it does say the word planet and talks about planets in general. But at the beginning in the creation story, it talks about the mother ovum, and everything happens within the mother ovum. So as a flat earther, there's allegations. There's two different potential realities, which is the classic Truman Show that we are all used to, with one kind of world going on at one time. Then there's also this idea of the mother ovum having multiple flat earth worlds inside of it. So multiple different things going on all of these different worlds, but they're flat earth worlds, just little tiny flat earth worlds inside of the mother ovum. So I would definitely encourage people not to get hung up on all of the planet, and actually understand the text if you feel called to get into this, because like I said, this has been life-changing for me. And I have a growing personal relationship with the translator, and I would love to bring up flat earth when the time is right and just discuss it. But at the same time, I understand that time is also short and of the essence. There are chapters that still need to be translated. So if it came down to fighting over, let's change the word planet, which I'm not trying to fight over anything at all. I have no intention of arguing or having any conflict at all. I guess I just meant to say, being more adamant about it, or that it has to change or whatever. I would be much more focused on helping to try to get the other, or putting my effort in trying to promote the other chapters to be translated, because it's still in translation right now. So the text is extremely old, but the translation is not. And if you were 20 years ago handed a text to start to decode and translate, and you were still a globe earther, your mentality is going to help you pick those specific words. Now fast forward to right now, the things that you're like, oh yeah, well, I acknowledge that I would have said that back then, because that's what I knew back then. And that's what it was. So I definitely have a lot of like understanding around the situation, and would encourage people to not get so caught up on that, because again, everything happens within the mother ovum. It talks at the beginning about the noise, the hum, the sound that was produced when God and Goddess started their dance of creation and the sparks started flying off of them. It talks about sacred geometry and gets really into detail about. It's really very fascinating. We'll have to get into it. The reason that I've held off on reading it is because I would really love to have some visuals to show you with it, because it is so complex and like goes into all of these different shapes. It's just really fascinating. But I am still seeking a deeper understanding, and I am going to work with potentially Mark Sargent to have him use the tools that he has to help me render it. So using the flat earth knowledge to kind of interpret it and make it into something that is really cool for all of you, and well, also for me too, because I would love to see it. So lots of plans, lots of projects, and yeah, Today's project, though, is preparing for the full moon event that is coming up. I am working on the last batch of the vegan cheese that I was making earlier when we talked, but I'm also working on blending up some carrots and potatoes for a different type of vegan cheese, which you cook the carrots and potatoes and then you add jalapenos, green chili, salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. It might just be one of those. I'll have to post the recipe, but you blend it up and it's really, really good. So I'll have to share that recipe with you, and yeah, I'll probably get off of here soon, but hey Tom Fox, how's it going? Hello, Inanna. I find it wiser to pronounce it "you're honest." Truly an unconventional planet, yet leads to freedom and invention, etc. My teacher said school system is education, since, well, brains in the head. Turns us into critics, head-based, yeah. This full moon occurs Friday night, but Thursday night is the best since it happens around 3 a.m. Oh, really? That's interesting. I'm going to have to look at this because... let's see, full moon, what month is this? Not that I don't trust you, but I'm just looking up and see what I read online, because I thought that it was the 9th. Okay, because it says the full moon in August 2025 will occur on Saturday, August 9th. It will reach peak illumination at 3:55 a.m. So I would be interested to see what sources you have, because I know that you're into astrology as well. So I'm only going off of what this says, and I know full well that is deceptive, right? So anyways, we'll have to talk off of here. Hey, Julian, how's it going? Julian says, Earth is round, gorgeous. Study the Egyptian pyramids. Too many correlations with the spherical Earth. Well, why study the pyramids when they're not going to be proving that the Earth is round? Even the Egyptian hieroglyphs, the pictures, and their teachings talk about the earth and the sky above it. So I would encourage you to look further than the Egyptian pyramids and look around you elsewhere in nature, because the pyramids don't prove that we're on a giant spinning ball. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. The Israelite says, sounds tasty. Exactly. It is really, really good. And I'm also planning on making that cheese without nutritional yeast that I mentioned earlier. I got a raw ranch dressing that's cashew based coming out. I'm going to have some peanut butter and chocolate little dessert balls, and then a sunflower dessert ball alternative for people that can't have peanut butter. I try to keep these kinds of things in mind, and when people say like, oh, I don't know, I just try to be mindful of the people that come. For instance, the the cheese without nutritional yeast just came about because my good friend Larry, bless his heart, after how many years has told me that he doesn't eat nutritional yeast. And I'm like, Larry, you've been eating my vegan cheeses and they have nutritional yeast in them. So there must have been some kind of miscommunication this whole time, but thankfully I did find a recipe that surprisingly works. So many of these recipes come down to like the texture, the substance that you're using, which it depends on what you're using. As far as meats and cheeses, like there are so many different alternatives that a texture, there isn't a problem. And then on the other hand, it's just a bunch of spices, and getting the spices correct, you can literally recreate anything. And I would challenge you to prove me wrong. Prove me that you can't make something vegan, because you literally, like, it's just amazing. We had a Shasta Vegan Thanksgiving here last year with mashed potatoes and gravy and textured veggie protein stuffing dish that I made, glazed carrots, pies, everything that you could like ask for in a Thanksgiving meal. We've had it, and there's a lot more to come. So it's just really exciting. I never thought that I would be a chef, but alas, here I am. I would love to have a cookbook at some point, but I need to focus on that and actually get it. Dave says, the Megillah ties so many New Age concepts and ancient mysteries together. Sacred geometry, astrology, elemental magic, energetics, somatics. It's so comprehensive and entertaining. It really is, especially compared to reading the Bible, which I grew up reading. Just so lifeless and also full of violence and portraying God as this, he needs you to go and kill animals in order to forgive you. Like, we're supposed to think of God as this loving father, but if you, I don't know. My dad is a loving father. He would never require me, if I did something wrong against him, to be like, hey Dad, I messed up, can you forgive me? And then he'd be like, go kill 4 pigeons and 2 turkey and 6 pigs, and then I'll go ahead and do that. Like, there's this very contradicting message even within the Bible, and we're taught to make it work in our minds and our hearts and accept this jealous, angry, vengeful God as our creator. And it's definitely a big change when you find the true creator, God and goddess, and the unconditional love. And that is thankfully still part of the mainstream Bible, that Yeshua's teachings to some extent did thankfully get in there. You know, the loving universal love teachings, because even people from outside can understand that. They're like, oh yeah, Jesus, he taught universal love and all of these great teachings. That was his whole objective, was to come and try to uplift the Aaronite religion, and how corrupt it is with all of the animal sacrifice leading up to human sacrifice. So yeah, it is nice that at least some of the love teachings got in there, but they're so outweighed by the angry Old Testament and the eating of flesh. The Megillah talks about, again, universal love can't be had by people that consume flesh, or can't be expressed or attained, however you would like to say, because that's not a loving thing. So it literally says, even if his scriptures say love your brother, love one another, love your brothers and sisters, they're not going to be able to do it because they eat flesh, and that's going to keep them from raising up into love and compassion and empathy. And I know for sure that that's true, because I've been there, and I can see how different my mentality was back then and how much more expansive it is now. Like, just the love and the empathy and the compassion and in the connection that I feel to our animal brothers and sisters that I didn't have before. So yeah, they want to say that Satan's way of have it all is, expansive and stuff, but it really ends up with you being constricted and in these dark, negative vibrations pulling you down more and linking chains to you and these demonic entities that feed off of our pain, that go around in the shadows trying to cause pain and suffering, whispering into my ear, whispering into your ear something different, so it sows seed of discord, and then we come at each other sideways, even though like we love each other, right? It's the same kinds of things that they do over and over again, because they feast off that pain. They get to laugh at it because they see the two humans' intent is loving towards each other, and they're both trying their best, but they're able to sow these seeds of discord and pull them into these different chaotic situations and just laugh the whole way. It's so bad. Let's look in here. Thanks to everybody in the chat and for everybody watching as well. The Israelite says some of my favorite is raw vegan onion breads. Interesting. I've been trying to think more about some raw or sprouted recipes. The Essenes had their own sprouted bread as well, so I would love to actually get into that, because I know that the bread that I make homemade bread for people on the mountain, which is really delicious. Make sure that the ingredients are organic and pure is what I'm trying to say. But I still know that we're not really supposed to be eating white flour and yeast and all of this stuff. We should just call it a mission ministry, I guess, started off with like basically like a frying pan kind of over an actual fire with like Impossible or Morningstar burgers and store-bought buns. So it's come a long way, and I'm trying to make things better, and ideally everything would be raw, but I'm also still trying to convert people, and especially when it's cold, it's nice to have some warm stuff. So I am going to be making the bread, and it's really delicious, by the way. That'll be happening on Friday, but if you have a onion bread recipe, I would love to see that. I don't have a dehydrator right now, but it would be good to get one. The Israelite says Two-Faced Bible yet commands them not to kill in the beginning. Exactly. God will never change. Know that. If the evil tree of corruption with the 7 sins of evil. I definitely agree with that God and goddesses will never change. And even from the Edenic diet to you can eat everything that moves. Well, first of all, everything that moves, human babies move. Like how far are you going to be taking that justification for evil? Because that's what I constantly see people doing, right? They're trying to justify evil instead of understanding why their Bible, not the Nazarene Bible, not the true Bible, allowed them in that circumstance to consume animals. But his will never changed from Eden. He doesn't want us to be terrorizing animals and having their little body parts packaged in the store. Like you really do not understand how psychotic our situation is until you go vegan and you see these little baby body parts in packages everywhere around you at the store. Imagine if that was a human babies, and how you would feel if that was human arms, right? Human thighs, whatever, human buttocks, human bacon, right? These things are frankly possibilities. Meat, right? We're all made out of meat, but imagine that horror that you would see those things, and that should be equally as horrible and horrific to you that our poor animal brothers and sisters are on display like this. Frankly, this is like a display of evil when you walk into the supermarket. Okay. Julian says, tired after work, but that video has many references to pyramids, mathematical relationships to the sphere. Okay, cool. I don't see a link in my chat on this end, so maybe you might want to try to comment like under the video and not in the live chat part. But anyways, as far as the sphere goes, we are inside of the mother ovum. We're just on a stationary plane inside of it because we need a flat surface to like exist on, and it just makes the most sense. So flat Earth isn't unspherical. We like spheres. Spheres are cool. There's spheres all over the place, right? We're inside of a sphere, not outside of it. So that's all. I just like to have fun with playing around. Okay. The Israelite says, I see the first book of Genesis, chapter 1, is of true truth of God, and the book of Daniel and Revelation and Psalms, Proverbs. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sprinkled in truth with lies, sprinkled in good teachings. The Psalm, Proverbs, the book of Jeremiah also talks about the lying prophet or the lying scribes' pens, Jeremiah 8:8. So there are little references in there that talk about how the Torah has been corrupted. Jeremiah 7:22 actually talks about how God didn't command the Israelites. It literally says that, for I didn't speak to your forefathers on the day that I brought them out of Israel concerning blood sacrifices and offerings. What I told them was, obey my voice and you'll be my people, right? He didn't say, go build an altar. That Jeremiah 7:22 literally says this, right? I didn't command them on sacrifices. I said, obey my voice and you'll be my people. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear towards me, nor, they didn't listen. And God has been sending prophets ever since to try to tell humanity that animal sacrifice is not his way. And what do? They turn to human sacrifice and they sacrifice the prophets. So you see this insanity of even animal sacrifice. It is very linked, because killing and the lack of value on life. Hi, Baloo. How's it going? The lack of value of life. Just thinking that, hi, how's it going? Did you want to be on camera today? Hi. 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 Hi, Baloo. Nope, she's camera shy. So cool. The lack of respect for life and the value of life, and basically seeing other beings as commodities or animals, right? It's all really linked together, and so it's important that we come out of these things. As far as the book of Revelation goes, I would definitely encourage you to check out the book of Enoch in the Holy Megillah. I had to take off a bunch of my Megillah readings of the actual full chapters because I did not use the word that was in the book, which is Lucifer. I do not use that title for evildoers. Anyways, a third-party copyright strike my videos, got my channel taken down for it, and so I'm just erring on the side of caution. But this, the book of Enoch is available in the free PDF version, and I do promise to get it out in a video/audio for you so that you can hear my lovely voice read it to you. But in the meantime, the prophecies are really awesome, and they talk about, cloning and 9/11 and the linking AI to the human body, right? This link of human, man, and machine, and how that is the sixth trumpet, and eventually it leads to the seventh trumpet, which is when the children of the crescent moon, the Islamic nations, bomb the White House essentially, and the hidden powers take over. The shadow, I was going to say a little bit more of the details, but it's not, we'll get into that at a different point. But the shadow government that has been, doing the things from behind, with all of the puppets out of the way, that were, oh, Trump and Hillary, they hate each other. They're like, turn off the TV. These are actors that are literally leaving the stage and going to Epstein Island together. Okay. Like, whatever. I'm not saying that, like, I don't know who has done what. I just know that they're all working together to conspire against humanity, and they don't get uplifted to these positions of influence and power where they are corrupting and degrading humanity because they are doing good deeds. The higher up that you get in this world, when the evil ones are controlling it, the more evil that you have done, right? You don't just get a pass by being a good citizen in a world that's run by demons. and nobody gets elected that wasn't meant to be elected. There's no rigged, they're all rigged. There's no stolen elections. Everybody that is where they are is meant to be where they are because the powers that be have allowed them to be where they are, or they wouldn't be where they are. So once you understand how controlled all these things are, it makes it a lot easier also to get rid of any idols or heroes that you have. And they want us to all hope for the future, and they give us false heroes of the conspiracy kind, the religious kind, the political kind, all of these different areas that we could have heroes. They'll give us the heroes and the false hope and the distraction of those teachers and channels that are saying what you want to hear. So it's important that we have discernment and know the players and stay away from them, right? I don't know. Once I learned how to transvestigate, and that's kind of my first thing. And if I see a video or whatever, I'm like, okay, is this, when I'm considering this, is it real or not? That factors into it as well. There's a lot of things on the internet these days that they're just flamboyant videos and people saying things that want to make you angry or sad or all the sorts of things programming us, right? And understanding that a lot of times it's not even real, especially very flamboyant things that are meant to cause division and perversion, and just a lot of these dark things they're from jokesters of the order of the parasites that are trying to influence and corrupt us. It's not coming from real humans. It's not that are, yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna get off on that for a second. Julian said, what about alcohol? Can we drink alcohol? Well, alcohol is a broad topic. I sometimes will drink some champagne, but I think that we need to be very careful about the things that we put into our bodies, because there are temples and a lot of negative things happen, especially when people start drinking, especially if they're drinking liquor. So I think it's something that people really need to be careful with. I think that a lot of people are searching for escape and happiness in this world, especially when they don't have that hope of the future, of God and Goddess, when they don't have that connection. They're not connected to the earth, all these different things. So I think that alcohol has been used and abused a lot. But I also think that, hey, if you're having a wedding and Granny has a glass of champagne and it gets her on the dance floor boogieing, like she's not, like, everything's in high spirits and good. I think that there's a time and a place for things, and that in the balance and in their proper use, these things can be good for their reasons. Obviously, it'd be better if you can have a good time without it. People use it as a crutch. You shouldn't need alcohol to get out on the dance floor and boogie, but special occasions, whatever. The Israelite says that for who are the Israel of God, even they of every nation and tribe who work righteousness, love mercy, and keep my commandments. Yay, these are the true Israel of God. Exactly. It is not about a race. It's not about a skin color, a nation, anything. It's not even about what species you are. Even the crossbreeds. Is that what? Even the hybrids. I don't want to call humans hybrid. Well, yeah, I don't know. They've been messing with all of our DNA, right? I don't know. I haven't had my DNA tested because I don't trust the powers that be. I would love to see what's going on, because our DNA is not just going to tell us about this human incarnation, but there's spiritual links with the right technology that we can look into the spiritual side of our DNA and see different things on that front. So I would really love to be able to look into that and help create technologies that we can help improve ourselves, and like being able to use just a thumbprint or something to test what deficiencies that you might have. And I'm not talking about, again, not anything invasive or anything, a fingerprint, just a little bit of DNA being able to tell us so many different things. So I think there's a lot of good coming in the future, and I'm excited for it. 404 says we're getting there, by the way. Exactly. We are. What is going on around here? This is the community space that I do my events at. So You shall not take away the life of any creature for your pleasure, nor for profit, nor yet torment it. Exactly. There's so many really great verses in the Bible that do support veganism, and people will just pick and choose what they want. And it's kind of set up that way, the Bible in general, because you have God supposedly saying all of these different things. So, I mean, which one do you follow? That's why I ask people, so why do you choose to follow what Paul said instead of what God said in Genesis 1? Because that's still an option, right? That was option number 1. That's choice A, the choice that God originated. And even further, people that want to try to say that people that are preaching veganism are being deceived by demons or being taught by demons. Was Adam and Eve being taught by a demon when God told them to do the same thing that I'm telling you to do right now? It doesn't actually make any sense, but the scripture can be used to justify anything that person wants to do. And so I try to tell people, oh, Scott's here. What in the world has he got in his trunk now? Oh, that's not Scott. Okay, I love this guy. It's just like, we showed up one day and there's like a ton of canoe or like rafts. And I'm like, are you started like an adventure business? Well, I don't know. Just go out and like buy, like, oh, well, I saw this at a garage sale. I'm like, okay, cool. Anyways, sorry for getting off track there. Yeah, they use the scripture to justify whatever. And so what I try to do is say, I dare you even to go into prayer and ask God if he wants you to kill animals or if he wants you to just eat plants. I dare you, like, go pray and please let me know what he says, right? Because they won't put the Bible down to actually have that personal relationship with God. And frankly, they already know inside. And when you tell them to go and pray, they have to think about that. And they're like, because there's a voice deep inside, that says, you already know that God doesn't want you to kill animals. So yeah, oftentimes they won't go and pray. So, the Israelite says it's really like a huge mountain that the sun and moon and stars and planets are spinning around the north center pole at the top of Middle Earth. Yeah, there's definitely the pull between the center of our Earth plane and the bottom and the top. Julian says, I like your Lucifer stance. Oh, thanks. Yeah, when I first started to find the Essenes on the Nazarene Way, they have a really great article about the title and how Lucifer, was originally a title for a nickname or title for Venus when she rose before the sun, bearing the light. She's the light bearer, and in the sky, she bears the sun. On the earth, she bears the S-O-N, right? So there's like this written in the stars story, like beautiful astro theology connection to all of it. So anyways, the Israelite says, Shalom, peace of all be with you. You too. Hey, Kyle Whitman. Kyle says, hi, I'm just getting out of work. Awesome. Oh, wow. It's really late for you, huh? It's like 7:30 there. Wow. That's a long day. Did your truck break down again? The Israelite says, observe the waxing on Gibson. Gibson? Were you playing guitar? You saw the moon reflection on your Gibson guitar and you were playing out there? Just kidding. It looked more like the light on the backside was illumination from the back. Interesting, more than the front. Okay, I'll have to go out when I see the sun or see the moon next. I'll have to go out and try to look a little bit more closely at it. I never really even paid attention that much to the sky in general until I became a flat earther, and then you find out about the stars all rotating around Polaris and how the Cassiopeia and the Big Dipper points to the North Pole, the North Star, and all these different things that finally are like, oh my gosh, look at how cool that is. Look at the crepuscular rays. Look at all this stuff. What is going on over there? I'm really curious about what's getting dropped off. So, okay. The Israelite says some might be double agents without a choice. Well, the thing is that everybody, frankly, has a choice, and sometimes the choice is taking a stand for what is right, whether you're facing death or other things. I also believe that these souls chose to come into these families. If they had chosen to go on another path, then they wouldn't be fulfilling those roles, and that character would go to someone else, right? It's like the Truman Show. There's those certain actors and actresses in place, and you want to be one of the main ones, and so you choose to be birthed into a family that will put you on that path rather than a family that's going to put you over here to be a nobody. And I say nobody, but we're not nobodies. None of us are nobodies. We just don't have the influence that the celebrities do, that are literally part of the system. That's why even on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all these social media sites as well, they're all controlled. All the algorithms are controlled. So the most popular ones, all of the most popular reels and people that you are seeing are all controlled by default. So Kyle Whitman says, Julian M., watch Balls Out Physics by Brian Mullen. Thank you. Cool. The Earth is not a spinning, wobbling water space ball. I love that comment. The video that I mentioned earlier that I woke up to was the Under the Dome full documentary, which is a compilation of the Flat Earth Clues by Mark Sargent. And yeah, there's a ton of really great videos that probably largely have been suppressed and hidden by this time, but there's some stragglers. 404 says, thanks, Anana, must go. Bye all. We'll play the recording later. Oh, thanks. Well, I will talk to you later, and then you can email me at queenanonasnow@gmail.com to chat about your podcast. Sounds really cool. Julian says, I'll give Flat Earth another whirl for you guys. Woohoo! Cool. Kyle says, if you need the link to the video, find me on Facebook. I'll send it over. Ah, cool. Hey, Bassem, how's it going? Do you play chess? I do. I have a bad habit of blitz, but I also do chess puzzles. So I'm mainly focused on that. And I have played correspondence games in the past, but right now I have just a lot going on. So I haven't been focused on that in general, but it is something that I would really love to get back into and start the Shasta Chess Club and eventually host the Reading Chess Simul and all this stuff. But it's just kind of a lot has been happening. So unfortunately, it's been on the back burner recently. Julian says, well, I'm having a drink or two and staying here. Okay, cool. That's fine. Tiny hats hid many versions of the Bible written to their preference. Exactly. Kyle says, nothing broke down today, just another long day. Well, hopefully you're able to get some nice rest and recovery from that. We all definitely need it. You more than me. I've been kind of relaxing all day, although I am working on prepping for the full moon, which I kind of need to get back to. But yeah, I'm excited for the weekend and a little bit nervous just because I don't know what to expect, and I think there's going to be a large group, but I am praying that the divine will work everything out and everything will go smoothly. I have like a ton of food already ready to go. Mainly just the burgers that I just made a ton, and I'm focusing on the cheeses today, and vegan cheeses, of course. So we'll see. I appreciate any positive thoughts and, prayers sent my way for these events. And yeah, looking forward to what they turn into for the future. So Hassan says, water is decreasing. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm going to get off of here and go and finish my vegan cheeses. Tomorrow at noon, I will see you for prayer, and I'll probably share another vegan recipe with you because I am still working on all of the prepping stuff. So, that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful evening. It's been a real pleasure getting to chat with you all and spend some time relaxing and away from the hustle and bustle of the kitchen, but I must return. So, I will see you tomorrow. May God and the goddess bless you.